Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's an exam technique guide and it gives you tips and hints on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in the pipeline to come. And so now we're going to continue with the Grade 5 2014 Past Paper C. And so if you turn with me to page 22, we'll make a start on question 4. Now I always recommend that you have a go of these on your own first of all. Doesn't matter if you go wrong, you'll always learn more thoroughly from making your mistakes. Always write in pencil. I use a mechanical pencil so it stays nice and sharp, and have an eraser to hand. No doubt you will need that. So then, we have a couple of scales to write out. Now this is an easy peasy question. This is an easy 10 marks if you just do a little bit of preparation. I always recommend that you write out your circle of fifths before you begin any paper. You need to always be thinking about major minor keys, not only when you're writing scales, but also when you're thinking about intervals as well. And so if you quickly jot down your circle of fifths, all the thinking's done in one easy go. If you're not sure how to do that, if you want to catch up on my video, the circle of fifths, you'll find the link in the cards and in the description. So if you've done all your thinking, now we've just got to apply it to these two questions. So we're asked to put sharps or flats, not use a key signature but use accidentals, to make the scale F sharp minor following this treble clef scale here. It says do not use a key signature, but we need to bear in mind what the key signature would be and apply it as accidentals. And then we need to make sure that the form we've written is the melodic minor form. Now F sharp minor is related to A major, and so we would have a key signature of F sharp, C sharps and G sharps. So let's just do that straight away. So that's step 1. So F sharps will come twice because we're beginning and ending on that. So it feels like you're writing too many sharps, but that's correct. We begin and end on F sharp. We want C sharps and we want G sharps. Now if you're not familiar with the treble clef, it depends which instrument you play. You could even just sketch out the letter names beforehand just to help you to place those sharps correctly. Now then, the melodic minor form, when it's ascending, would have the raised 6th and 7th. Now this is ascending, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we raise the 6th by adding a sharp, and we raise the 7th by adding a sharp, and that's that job done. So then we are now asked to write the scale using semi-brief, so we don't have to worry about stems. And we need to write a chromatic scale. So we're beginning on a B flat, and then we need to show every single semitone. Now this is where I find it really helpful to refer to, I'm just going to shuffle that up so you can see, to the piano keyboard. Even if you don't play piano, it's a good visual aid to make sure you can see your semitones so that you know you're doing that correctly. Now then, when we are writing a chromatic scale, we're beginning on B flat, and we need to try and make sure that the 1st, the 4th and the 5th degrees of the scale as though they would be in relation to this B flat. So we're beginning, we need to make sure we call the B flat actually B flat and not A sharp. We need to make sure we refer to that as B flat to stay true to this starting note. Number 4, B, C, D, E, should be E flat rather than D sharp, and then F instead of, say for example, E sharp. So we try and stick to 1, 4 and 5. We aim to keep those true to this starting key note. as if you were in B flat major, the first, the fourth and the fifth. So other than that, the only other thing to be careful is to make sure that you cancel any accidentals before you move on. So for example, we know we've had B flat as our starting point. Then we have our next door note is A. Actually, we don't perhaps need to cancel it. Sometimes I imagine if you were moving on from A flat to A, if we were going upwards, we'd have to cancel the sign, but I think we might get away with not needing to do that. So B flat to A. Now we want A flat. You could say G sharp, but I think A flat seems a sensible option. Every note must be represented, every space line must be represented at least once and no more than twice. So we've used the A line twice, so now we need to move it down. So we wouldn't say A double flat, we would of course just call it G. Then we need G flat. That went a bit wonky. Then we want F, and so we're staying true to the fifth degree of the scale. And then we want E natural. Now that's already E natural because no other flat has been in place yet. And now we will call this one E flat. Instead of moving straight on and calling it D sharp, we're staying true to the fourth degree there. Now we're coming down a step and we want a D. You can see how helpful it is to just see that visual aid instead of trying to keep it all in your mind and making unnecessary mistakes. So now we're coming down and we'll call that D flat. You could call it C sharp, but if we're in a flat starting note, you can't always keep it, but I prefer to keep to flats there. So now we want a C, and then next door to that is a B, and then we have B flat, and that takes us right back to our starting point. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus the keynote again, so that's right. So that's that question completed. Let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question. So question 5, we now have some transposing to do. This melody is written for the cor anglais, the English horn, and we need to transpose it down a perfect fifth. A horn plays a C but sounds an F, and if you see that, it plays a C, but what it actually sounds is a note F, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower the sound is. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to write out what would actually sound at concert pitch. We don't use a key signature, of course here because the question asks us not to, but also the format is that horn in orchestral music does not have a key signature. I'm not sure why that is. However, we'll just do as we're told here as well. Now, we're no key signature, but we're going to have to bear in mind what the key signature would be were we to do so. I'll just shuffle that up a bit. And then we need to also put any extra sharp or flat signs to adjust as we go along here. So although it could be in any old key because of all these sharps and so on, we'll look here to begin with and we presume that we're in C major. The adjustment of sharps and flats will address what key we're actually in, but I'm dealing from the key signature here. Now if we're going to go down a fifth, we know that C down a fifth takes us to F. So we need to bear in mind that we're now thinking in F major. So we need to bear in mind B flats need to be added because we've moved everything down a fifth. We've transposed the key down. So although we don't have that as a key signature, we need to bear that in mind as we go along. So now I'm going to just sketch in the bar lines because we've got enough to be thinking about without getting lost. And so although we've been given 2 lines to write on, I'm going to stick to using just 1 line. If you've got a sharp pencil, that's plenty of room. You won't run out of space if you sharp, pencil and neat. And that way I can keep exactly aligned with their notes and I'm not going to get lost and lose track where I am. So then, we're going to transpose this down a fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes us to D. Oh, I better just pop the time signature in. Now we're coming down a step. I'm going to worry about stems and all the other bits and bobs once I've got the note heads in the right place. Let's think about one thing at a time. Now next door down takes us to B. It should now be B flat. We would be adding a B flat. However, this is raised by a semitone. If you can see, this was an F that's been raised to a sharp, and so this is a B flat that we're now raising a semitone to B natural. And so we could just leave it that, just plain old B, or if you want to show that you've thought that process through, you could do a natural sign and put it in brackets. So now we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down a fifth, 1, 3, 5, there we go. Same note again. I'll worry about the tie once I've put the stems in. Up a third, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's that. Now next door note up takes us to A, and then that is an E natural that's been lowered by a semitone. So it's E flat. This is an A natural. We need to lower that by a semitone by adding a flat. Now here we have exactly the same note. Now this natural sign is redundant really, because the bar line cancels the flat anyway. So the bar line has already cancelled that flat, but as they've put a natural sign in, so shall I do also. Now let's double check that we're on track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should be on an A. We are. So now we're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes us to an E. Up a step. Up a step. Now that is a D that's been raised. This is a G. We'll raise that by a sharp. Now we're going to go up a third. Now here, that should now be a B flat. We should be adding a B flat sign, a flat sign to that. However, this is a natural that's been raised by a sharp, so it's a semitone higher. This is a B flat, it should be, and we'll raise that by a semitone, and that becomes a natural. You can leave it like that, or you can put your natural sign in brackets to show that you've thought that through. That will be tied, same note again. We'll worry about that in a moment. Next door note, down a step, raised by a sharp. Down a step, raised by a sharp. That will be tied. Now we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 takes us to middle C. Now we're going to go up 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. That takes us to G, and we need to raise that by a sharp. Next door note, let's double check we're in the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A fifth lower should take us to A, and we're correct. Same note, that will be tied. Up a third, and that is lowered. It's a natural, G natural, lowered by a flat. This is a C natural, lower that by a flat, so that becomes C flat. Next door note, now here we have a B. There's no raised note there, so it needs to be B flat. If there was a key signature, it would be B flat, and that's unaltered here. And then we will tie it. The tie does the job of keeping the flat in place over the bar line, so we don't need to add a flat there. So that's all the hard thinking done. Now we've got to do the stems. So the stems will change now that we've moved the position of the note head. So if it's above the middle line, the stem will come down. So the middle line is the deciding line, so that will follow suit with this note here. So now we flip the stems up, because we're below that middle line. This one can go either way, but I'm going to keep the stem up. These will all come down. I think I'll just use a ruler for this, but by all means use a ruler to keep it as neat and tidy as you can. I'll put the ties in afterwards, I should say. So now this one, we've got one below the middle line, one above the middle line. It could go either way. and so I'm just going to keep these pointing upwards to match the rest of the bar. And then there we go. So let's add these ties in place now we know where the note heads are, because a tie has to go outside note head to note head. That one can go there, that one can go there, that one can go there, that one can go there. There we go. Now there are also other slurs and expressive markings, however, well, I'll just put etc. there as they've done. So that is sufficient for the purposes of answering this question. By all means, if you want to go ahead and add all the extra little bits and bobs if you've got time at the end of the exam, but for marking purposes, that is sufficient. You've answered the question there. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope it's helping you with your studies and you're getting to grips with this subject. Hope that you're enjoying it too. I certainly am. If you can give me a like, that would be really great. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.